Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to TrepTalks. This is the show where I interview successful e-commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders, and ask them questions about their business story, and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today, I'm really excited to welcome Scott Unkefer to the show. Scott is the founder of JustPanela. JustPanela sells a unique unrefined form of cane sugar, otherwise known as panela, in Colombia. And today I'm going to ask Scott a few questions about his entrepreneurial journey and some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to start and grow his business. So, Scott, thank you so much for joining me today at TrepTalks. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Sushant, for your time. I appreciate the interest.
For sure. So maybe we can start off with the product itself. You know, it's seems like some sort of a sugarcane sugar. Is it different from like a regular sugarcane sugar? Is it like some sort of a unique thing to Colombia? Can you talk a little bit about your product and then we'll get into your entrepreneurial story?
Sure. It's Panela is very similar to jaggery or gur from South Asia, and there are names for it in various other parts of the world and cultures. For what it is truly unprocessed, unrefined sugarcane. So it is not industrial refined. It is not centrifugal refined. All of the sugars in Western culture are refined, and the differences between one and another are very minimal. From white refined to turbinado to even brown sugar, they're all centrifugal refined, which is why they're hard and they're a rock and they're a crystal. That was really the end game, was to make it into a crystal, so that frankly, the thousands of years ago, up until hundreds of years ago, they could transport it from India largely to the Western world. Because as that hard rock crystal form, it was durable against the elements being humidity and everything else that happens in the atmosphere and on sea and land. As such, it also makes it really easy to package. It's good for machinery. It's terrible for human beings. So this is unrefined, non-centrifugal refined sugar. That the harmonized tariff code is literally non-centrifugal refined. And so, yeah, this is unrefined, handmade sugar, if you will. And so, as such, really the difference is it retains the character of sugarcane grass. Sugarcane is a grass. It's an equatorial grass. It comes from the equator and ideally within 3 degrees of the equator. And there are other climate requirements and nice to haves for the sugarcane grass. And Colombia happens to be the best that I've found in the world when it comes to heat and temperature differential from night and daytime, and how that allows the crystallization of the sugarcane grass to occur, and the volcanic soil and the temperature and the sun it gets and the rain it gets and the water it gets and the movement of that water in this 3 mountain range country of Colombia that has 3 mountain ranges. So it's hard to get to. It's hard to grow. Your typical views of a very flat field full of cane that looks like carpet, and then these big industrial machines doing cultivation and whatnot. That works great for machinery. It makes a terrible product for human beings. So that's kind of the nutshell. When people ask what is the difference, I really try and get the product into people's mouths, because it's very much it's a natural product. It's not an artificial product, and that's where the wow comes from. We have a huge, Sushant, I'm sure I'm not stretching the imagination if I imagine you're from South Asia.
Yes, and I'm definitely, I've used jackery, I've used sugarcane, I've had sugarcane sugar also, of course, the sugar that comes out of it also.
Yeah, so that was kind of the wow moment for me, as I moved to Colombia from Argentina, and I would go to the coffee shop and I would find this stuff, Panela, in the single serves at the coffee shops, at the cafes. And I finally asked, what is this stuff? And they told me it's sugar. And I was like, okay. And I opened it and tried it. And I that was my wow moment of, well, good, this is what I wanted all along. I wrote that too. I read that in a very good marketing book. I think it's called Difference, or it's a somewhat well-known marketing book. That when you go in entrepreneurialism, don't look for a void in the market and then fill that niche or void. Look for something that when the market experiences it, it says to itself, well, this is what I wanted all along. And that's what this unprocessed form of sugar is. We don't, people, there's so much misinformation between raw sugar and sugar in the raw, which is not raw at all. It's absolutely as refined as white refined sugar. And these other words that have been misappropriated, particularly in America, which we allow misappropriation to occur in whereas Canada, where you guys are far stricter with the usage and terminology, but America is what it is, and we've just sort of misinformed the world on sugar. You combine that with Western culture that bastardized sugar into a highly refined form, so that it was transportable, and you've got what the American market largely and Canadian and the Western market is today, which is this all these horrible refined sugars. Whereas most people, when they try Jaggery or Gur or Chancaca or Piloncillo in Mexico, or Raspadura in Brazil and Costa Rica, or Panela, is they say that they realize, well, this is what I wanted all along. So
awesome. I mean, I'm curious. You seem to be from US, but you're obviously living in Colombia, and it seems like you found this product when you were living in Colombia. So, I mean, can you share a little bit about your story? What were you doing before you kind of started or decided to start this business? How did you come to Colombia, and what's your story? What motivated you to start this business?
So to the initial response is, my confidence far outweighs my intelligence. I found this product, like I said, I had been living in Argentina for a long time, and then I moved to Colombia from there. As people ask, why, Scott? Why? You're correct. I am American. I'm from Colorado and San Francisco and stuff. But I'm a world citizen, and I've lived 20 years now in South America. And so that's kind of how I got here, and I just happened upon the product. And like I said, I had my wow moment with it, where I realized I can position this. This product needs to be positioned as as ideally the staple sugar for most human beings, because of how bad we all know the highly refined sugars and all refined sugars are. And that story just continues to increase in coverage and knowledge, and then we try and replace with these artificial sweeteners, and it's just a matter of time until each one of those gets found out to have a nasty surprise in it. So I came here by adventure. I happened upon the product and decided that looks like a really big fun problem to solve. How do you take something from the ground and from another culture and reposition it for Western culture? Let's go solve the import-export problem and the free trade problem and the positioning and the marketing and the education problem for the consumer. And let's go solve a whole series of problems that I know is going to take a long time, and let's see if we can do this.
So basically, in your business, the problem, I mean, you had kind of found the product. So the problem was not necessarily, coming up with the right product, or, it was more about how do you bring this product from Colombia or South America to a country like the US? I'm assuming that's your primary market. And how do you kind of educate the market on what this is, and really build the awareness and get the uptake? So before you kind of invested significantly in the product itself, did you do any sort of like testing or idea validation, or do anything in the US to try to figure out if you put this out, market out in the product, people are actually going to buy it?
Yeah, I did in my own way. It definitely takes a certain amount of ignorance and just to make the leap without that kind of demographic information and litmus test and acid test and stuff. And I definitely jumped. I definitely jumped early, but the one thing I did do successfully and accidentally is I thought I was going to conquer the world with the individual serving size sachets. I thought if I got those into every Starbucks and coffee shop in America, I win. And that's how I get it in people's mouths and I get them to realize it. So I started with that as sort of the campaign and the objective. And so we would go to the Coffee Fest shows, and we happened to win Best New Product at Coffee Fest. I think that was in New York, now 8 years ago, probably at least. And in winning that award, we then had ignorantly gone and entered the natural food retail space, and we're going to the fancy food and expo shows. Fancy foods, there's East and West, and there's Expo East and West shows. And we applied for the competition in the fancy food shows, citing that we won the Coffee Fest show. They put us in the competition for the fancy foods show, which put us in front of all of the head buyers for Whole Foods and Safeway and other large natural foods chains. And so we just sort of segued really well and accidentally into what we were told is the fastest any product went nationwide in Whole Foods in the history of products sort of being introduced to market to being taken what's called global in the Whole Foods world, but nationwide into Whole Foods. That was just a very luck and effort for sure. So that was exciting, and we had a lot of luck, and we won some competitions there, and so that worked out well as sort of okay, we've got distribution. Now let's get education and let's get marketing. Well, sugar is a sweetener, and it's an ingredient, and it's an additive, and it's a product that goes into what's called the baking/sweetener aisle. It's a retail product. So then we went and chased all these different markets. It being as small as we were, we never took venture money or anything like that. It was, I think, a few $100,000 maximum for me and a business partner and some other people. And it was a case where we did the organic thing. And in the end, I'm glad, but there is good use of getting venture-backed money. Once an idea has been tried and tested and true, if you will, it's good to get venture money and give yourself the resources to cover every aspects of enterprise resource planning and customer relationship management, and be able to pay for all the pieces that make internally and externally a company succeed. So in that sense, I probably should have applied for venture money a few years back. But in the food market, an ingredient like this isn't very attractive because the margins aren't super high. It's a commodity, but it is a specialty commodity. But nevertheless, it's still a commodity. So, venture people, they want to see X's, 2X, 4X, 6X, right? You don't really get that on a commodity product like a sugar or a specialty sugar. So there's that would have probably been proven to be hard, is to get millions of dollars from people and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, one challenge that I assume in getting like mass utilization or mass adoption of a product like this is, if a regular person who goes to a grocery store and can buy that processed sugar for like $4 or $5, to buy the same thing, the same alternative, even though it's, the healthier option, maybe tastier as well. Of course, the price point is a bit higher. So who is kind of your target market, and who's actually kind of using these kind of, is this considered like more of a premium product that only people who are more health focused and who have kind of the extra money to spend are buying it?
Yeah, absolutely. Price point's a hindrance, but to be honest, I thought it was a bigger hindrance than I think it is now. I think if I were better at marketing, I could have charged $7 for a pound of sugar if people knew it and tried it and liked it and wanted it. I think that I felt like price point was a bigger issue than I think it is now. I think if I were better at educating the world at the benefits, which there are two. There are huge health benefits to unprocessed sugar, and more of that information is coming out now. This is actually we have a lot of type 2 diabetics that email us and call us and tell us this product does not spike their sugar levels at all, their blood sugar. It's kind of amazing. There's some amazing health benefits to this product. And then we have bakers that buy it by the pallet, because all they care about is the flavor profile. And the flavor profile, when applied correctly in baking and cooking, is second to none. We have hundreds across the United States and Alaska and Canada as well of premium rum distillers, micro distillers that make rum with it, because the taste is so good too. So yeah, price point is an issue, but I do feel that if I did better education to the non already acquainted market, the acquainted market would be the Latinos or we have a lot of Indians and Pakistanis that buy from us direct and whatnot, lots, because it is very similar to Jaggery, and they found that, and within their communities they sell it, they actually resell it, and we give them discount codes to do so. So you've got the educated people, the Latinos, the Middle Easterners that are purists, the kosher and halal people that are purists, and this is a pure product, right? And you've got the cultural people, and then you've got the natural foods and organic and unprocessed North American market that one is a cultural target and another is a natural health and flavor profile target, but different demographics, right?
Yeah, awesome. What is it like running the business from overseas? I mean, do you kind of go back and forth from Colombia to US very frequently, or your business is like you've already created all the processes, so it's kind of like a hands-off thing that runs on its own?
It's not hands-off at all. And another mistake I've made is, I mentioned to you before, I was at the Toronto Food Show. I have failed at spending more time in my market, talking to store managers and seeing and going to shows and being and seeing where we fit. I need to spend more time geographically present in North America, because I've missed positioning of my product correctly just by being detached or out of touch with it. It's really, really important to go to those expos, talk to people, and find out where they see it, and whatnot. That idea that you can sort of eliminate geography with the internet, it's just not true in the physical world. I learned so much at the Toronto show. From the nutrition houses, which is a big one for us, because this product has nutrition value, and it has real health benefits, obviously, to refined sugars. I realized how accepted this product is in these nutrition houses, and that's a huge growing subspace in the food industry, right? And let alone the bakers and whatnot. So, no, man, I need to spend more time surrounded by my target consumers.
Are there any challenges? So you said, once you discovered the product, you had to figure out, how to export it and to United States and things like that. Can you talk a little bit about your supply chain, logistics, fulfillment processes? I mean, you are in retail.
Yes. Yeah,
I mean, I definitely want to ask: is your direct to consumer business bigger than the retail, or?
So yeah, I mean, again, I own a food company. I hadn't worked in food before, so food safety, organic certification, all that stuff. Now we're experts at that. Another thing that's rare about us is we are our own packager. 99% of the stuff you see in Metro there in Canada, Sushant, or in Whole Foods, all that is a sales and marketing thing. They don't actually make their own product. They have contract manufacturers making their products for them. All they do is that customer facing sales and marketing and positioning stuff. So I kind of lost track of what your direct. Oh, your question was direct versus retail, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we love Amazon, and I've got deals in the works for Walmart.com and more of the platform online stuff, because the shelf size doesn't matter. We sell a 5-pound bag and we sell a 1-pound bag. We sell 5 times more per pound 5-pound bags on Amazon than we do 1-pound bags, because of the volume economics of the thing. Yet we can't get that 5-pound bag. It's probably in somewhere around 5% of the brick and mortar we're in, because it's too big for the shelf, right? So what are called planograms, which is when you look at an aisle, that's a planogram, is how the grocer or the natural food store manages the dimensions of everything that goes into that aisle. They won't take the 5-pound bag, but online that thing sells like hotcakes. The 1-pound does too, but yeah. So we love Amazon. It is way friendlier to the supplier than the brick and mortar distributor natural foods supplier model, which is what that model is. We're a supplier manufacturer, then we've got this distributor that is not the buyer, and you've got those two guys that whenever there's an issue, the guy that eats it is me, the small supplier. It's a tough world. That brick and mortar food world is food retail world. It's really tough because, yeah, I'm dealing with. They're getting screamed at by 20 or 30 other sweeteners all day, let alone pasta sauce and everything else that's screaming at them to get demos and promos and stuff done. And they're God bless them, their life isn't easier than mine, but there's a lot of noise in their world, and I'm just part of that noise, whereas online you don't have that. So with Amazon and whatnot.
Oh, that's great to hear. I did ask you multiple questions last time, so I'll kind of follow up on the other one that I had asked. Can you talk a little bit about your supply chain and how you're kind of warehousing it in the US? How do you fulfill your products and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing I would say with regards to supply chain, when I talk about what's hard for me, I'm the world's smallest multinational sugar company, is what I am. And in the US, I have this belief that it was really pleasant to be at the Toronto show up there in Canada, and you're dealing with just inherently smaller things upstream and downstream from you. In the United States, just like the rich and poor gap is so huge and pronounced, it's reflected the same in the business world and in the food world. you have the 800-pound gorilla distributors that are used to dealing with Heinz and Kraft and whatnot, and little guys like me are coming along and killing them with 1,000 paper cuts. But these massive distributors that are nationwide, and these massive chains of stores that have 400 stores and whatnot, and then I come along and they got to deal with my dumb little tiny ass. It's not fun for them. They want to deal with someone that has 50 SKUs, not someone that has 2. You know, so it's really important to do your best to work with people up and down the supply chain that are the same size roughly as you are, because it just works better. And it's really hard in the US because the US is so it gets big so quickly. And the big guys, the minute there is a small regional distributor that owns a fleet of 5 trucks that handles the greater Ontario area, the big guy comes along and snatches them up, right? Because they don't want any competition. They are by nature mafioso. If they own trucks that they need to buy brake pads and radiators for, by God, they're going to buy anything else that comes along that might someday down the road pose a problem for them. So it's and again, the thousands of little food supplier manufacturers out there, we get kind of caught in the middle of that whole thing, and it's tough.
Awesome. In terms of you, I mean, you've been running your business, what, 8 years plus now. Have you had any big successes, any big marketing campaigns that work? Like, what has been the biggest success, or or has it really been more of a gradual kind of a growth for you?
No. Absolutely, going to the expos is required in this business. Those things are very, very necessary with regards to getting yourself in front of the market. Like I said, I mean, we succeeded at Coffee Fest, and that segued into winning an award at the Fancy Food Show. That was a very quick and early sequence of successes that justified my thought that this form of sugar is really what everyone wants. They just don't know it. I've done not a great job from there. I'm not in every store across North America, just because I didn't get massive funding. I didn't seek it because I'm in Colombia. If I were in the US and I had the mindset of venture backing and kind of saturating as hard and quick as I could, I might be a lot bigger. We're doing well, and it's frankly we're a nice size, but we are planning some very good marketing campaigns right now as well that will further these wonderful scientific data that's coming out with regards to the health benefits of non-centrifugal sugar. And we are expanding to Canada right now. Actually, today our Canada bags arrived at our warehouse. So that's exciting. We've got our French and English Canada bags ready to go that we're packaging and containerizing in about a week.
Wow, welcome to Canada.
Thank you, man.
In terms of your products themselves, is it really? I'm assuming that there are factories in Colombia that all you're doing is simply purchasing the products and packaging them. Is that the process?
Yeah, totally. The thing I found is that they needed exactly that. They needed a packager. In countries like Colombia, stuff like that is very, very not mature.
Okay.
Packaging is really immature, and therefore positioning is too. Frankly, similar to Jaggery and Gura in South Asia, their preferred consumption form is a block or a cone or a hockey puck or a disc.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even grinding that into a powder was just more labor that they didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Because they are not consumer conscious.
Yeah.
Right. So they needed me to create this product to enable it to interface with the Western consumer.
For sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I know, being from India myself, it's like, it's a very traditional thing, right? Something that's been coming on generation after generation. So they never even bothered trying to package it or something. So, you buy it locally and you consume it, and so that's like, but I'm sure now people are more commercializing it more and more. So what is
I am,
your
but I am, but that's about it. I mean, for North America, I mean, from Colombia, I'm the only one, dude. But anyway.
No, that's great. I mean, I think there is definitely a big problem of diabetes and health issues, and I think if there are products that kind of help with that, I think it's definitely a great thing.
Oh
What
yeah,
does
it's
you?
all about the baby boomer, right? I mean, it's the baby boomer is what is a huge that falls right in with the baby boomer thing. But you go ahead, Sushant. Yeah. What is what?
What does your team look like right now? I mean, you said that you're a small, the smallest multinational operation. What does your operation team look like right now?
Well, and I mean, in this gig economy, it's an amorphous blob between Colombia and the United States and Canada. I've got two brokers in Canada now, which are wonderful. So on there again, there's I don't know if you're familiar with the ERP and the CRM model of a company and what
Yeah,
those
for
terms.
sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Enterprise
so really,
resource planning and
there you go. So everything
CRM.
internal,
Yeah,
everything
relationship
internal.
management. Yeah.
So Colombia is really the ERP, and then the US and Canada are the CRMs.
Okay.
They're so on this side, the ERP side, all of the operation and all of the cost, basically, the packaging, the sourcing, the quality control, the food safety, food hygiene. We are 10 people. I would say full time, yeah, and then a handful of accountants and logistics of people. I mean, let's not talk. Let's not talk about the elephant in the room. I'm exporting powdery substances from Colombia, right? And
Yeah.
it took a while. It took a while for the people to rent me the facility, and for the people to work at the facility, and the shipping logistics companies to believe that this is what I'm doing. The whole thing wasn't a front for another famous Colombian powder, if you
Yeah,
will.
for sure.
And it's funny. The funny part about that is kind of one of the big days that I got over the hurdle there was my business partner and I, we had the facility rented, we had the machines coming from the States, because again, can't get these kinds of packaging machines in countries like this. We had to import the machinery and stuff. Is we went to the porteros, I lose my English, the gatekeepers, the security guards, if you will, for the complex of facilities that our facility is in, and said, "Hey, do you have any cousins or nephews and nieces that can come help us package?" And they're like, "Absolutely, Flora and Maria and Christina, absolutely." And so the security guards sent all their nieces and nephews, and then everyone agreed we're okay, right?
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, the shipping companies realized we're good, we're the good guys, and they're, "Oh yeah, we'll send containers and let you export them, and we'll handle that and all that stuff." So it was a fun hurdle to get over,
Awesome.
because the logistics company, they wouldn't touch us with a 10-foot pole. They all thought we were a front for various things. So
Wow.
yeah, that was fun.
That's interesting to be doing business from some of these South American countries, I guess. So you kind of got into this business, by accident, or maybe not even by accident, but you came across the product by accident. What is are you happy that you got into this business, and what does the future look like for you? Let's say 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road.
Yeah, I love being a small business owner and being able to wake up every day and be the god of my own little world and universe I've carved out. It's fun as hell. Being given the keys to my own kingdom on the marketing side, as far as how do I get this into more eyeballs, brains, and mouths of more people in North America, and being given the opportunity to solve that problem. I love it. I love it. So I couldn't be happier. Again, I mean, I'm 50 years old. I went back to Colorado and hung out with all my friends my age too, and they're busy raising their kids, something that I don't have, and good for them, and that makes them fulfilled. But I don't have those little munchkins, and so this is the debate. Honestly, all of my employees, in a country like this, I'm doing more for this country than most foreigners that come here do. I am upwardly. Everyone that works for me here is female. I have one male that just started 3 weeks ago for me. He's the first one. It is all women, single women with children that work for me here. So I am enabling people to break through their respective glass ceiling that otherwise they wouldn't be doing. Understanding the intricacies of food safety, food hygiene, organic certification, raw materials to finished product, and how that has to flow through a food safety protocol and stuff. It's wonderful, and they're my children, and so it's a family we've got, and like I said, otherwise I don't think anyone else would be doing this. It's I feel like I'm making the world a better place. So
no, that's really great. In every entrepreneur's journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned, failures. I'm sure you had your own fair share. What has been a big mistake or failure that sticks out in your mind? What did you learn from it? What can other entrepreneurs learn from your mistakes?
Well, we put the wrong barcode on 35,000 bags. Okay. So that was a good one.
For Amazon?
That was long before we now are huge on Amazon. Okay. Yeah, if you search on like Panela sugar and stuff, we are Amazon's choice. We sell a lot through there. But have we had a recall? No. But we did ship bags with the wrong barcode on them, and luckily caught that somewhat in time. That was a huge error. And as far as like labeling, when you're a packager and a food company, when you make a mistake, it typically does it is a mistake that covers hundreds of tons or tens of thousands of units, and so it tends to be a very big mistake. I was in software before. You can't go rev a different release at midnight to fix the mistake. It's like video games in the 90s when you printed 400,000 copies on DVDs and you shipped them out, and you found out that there was a show-stopping PC crashing bug, right? It's too late. It's already been distributed. It's out there. So labeling is really, really tough, particularly in Canada. You guys are insanely strict on labeling. So that's where big mistakes can occur. The whole COVID thing crushed the supply chain. You couldn't find pallets down here worth a damn. We had to ship containers with pallets that just fell apart upon arrival. If DEA or customs, if you will, which DEA falls under, if those guys had chose to do intense inspections, which they do most of the time on sugar, if they chose to do intense inspection and unload all of our pallets out of those containers that had the bad pallets in them, our product would have just crumbled to the ground, and we would have been out $40,000 on it. They wouldn't have reloaded our pallets and reloaded our container. They would have incinerated all of it. So,
wow, interesting. Yeah. A lot of things on the packaging side of things, it seems like, and I know Canada definitely has a lot of regulations for sure. Now I'm going to move on to our rapid fire segment. In this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and you have to answer them maybe in a couple of words or a sentence or so. One book recommendation for entrepreneurs, and why?
Well, the one that comes to my head is the one that the Clif Bar guy wrote. The guy who wrote Clif Bar, and just read. And that one, honestly, because of one thing he said, which is, give your product away for zero margin. Give it away for free in the beginning. Get it into people's hands and mouths, and just you need to get it into velocity, and you have to get it moving. And don't worry about your price point and making sure you're not losing money, because guess what? You probably aren't. You're probably not good at the very difficult financials of balancing doing your financials, to understand that if you're making 35,000 units at a time, you're probably making money, and you've done your financials too conservatively. So the Clif Bar business book.
Awesome. An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about?
An
product or idea. Any product or idea that you use or you like, feel excited about?
For me, I guess Data Robot, which is a business artificial intelligence software, because again, we package in Colombia, and then we ship to Miami, and now we're shipping all the way to Ontario. But all of that is packaged in Colombia. So we need to project what are in those containers, as between our 5 pound and our 1 pound and our conventional bulk and our organic certified bulk and our single serve sachets. We need to predict what is going to happen in the future, right? Because we don't do our packaging on site, if you will, in the States and Canada. Therefore, AI and Data Robot, being a really good one, is really good at that predictive forecasting stuff.
Awesome. And you use, does that integrate with, I'm assuming you use Shopify or?
Well, no, there's no. Data Robot doesn't integrate with, we use Squarespace. Sorry, Canada. Okay. And we love Squarespace. It's wonderful. Shopify is awesome too. They're both great, and they're both wonderful. But no, Data Robot, that's kind of more. I think I don't know if Data Robot has any sort of APIs for the billing systems, the customer facing billing systems, or not. I'm just more. Yeah, I'm not sure. Do you know, Sushant? Are you familiar with it?
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry. A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip?
Google Sheets. I run my whole company on Google Sheets. I worked in enterprise software. I was an Oracle, a director of Oracle applications before. I worked at Netscape Communications back in the day. Everyone wants you to put your business in their enterprise software so that you're handcuffed to it for the rest of your life. Google Sheets I've worked for mid-size tech companies that run their entire businesses on Excel spreadsheets. That it works great. Don't get beholden to enterprise software just for the sake of it's making you big and cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were in software and IT. That sounds very interesting. A startup or business, another startup or business in e-commerce, retail, or tech that you think is currently doing great things?
Yeah, Canyon bicycles, because they figured out the direct model a long time ago. And you buy Canyon bikes online, a bike that would cost $15,000, like a Specialized, you can buy from Canyon for $6,000. I mean, literally, you get you get twice the bike at half the price, and they're just an incredibly tech savvy company that is leveraging technology to sell bikes around the world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
A peer entrepreneur or business person whom you look up to, or someone who inspires you?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I should have read these questions maybe before talking to you.
Anybody you look up to, or anyone who's kind of an inspiration?
I'll tell you what's inspiring is I consider myself a couch. What is the term? A novice or a part-time Stoic, following the writings of Stoicism, and I really follow the belief set of Stoicism. So that Marcus Aurelius stuff, if you want to go to the deep philosophical side, and also the contemporaries that speak to it are really good guys to listen to as far as how you should approach your business and personal life. I think they've got it really nailed out, and how to just to approach everything with logic, and using the Stoic logic is a good way.
For sure. Yeah, Marcus Aurelius has a great book, The Meditations, and I think Seneca is another Stoic, right? Final question. Best business advice you ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs?
The best, in the business I'm in, the best business, gosh, there was a book written by Gordon Bell, who was one of the 3 founders of Intel, that's been out of print for years. It was called High Tech Ventures. He had it all worked out in there. Well, I'll get rich slowly. Like I said, I've been doing this for honestly 10 years, and that idea of being a unicorn, just throw that out the window. You don't do it. just go work for somebody, and don't waste your time. The flash in the pan. And also, here's the one that I figured out, because I did work in Silicon Valley and I started startups, is get rich slowly, which is what what's his name, Berkshire Hathaway says. And the other, gosh, what was it? Yeah, don't see going and raising venture money as the end game. People think that I do that, I win. Like, no, then you fail. Go. Don't do that. Don't go raise money. Go suffer. So that's it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's a great advice. I mean, I think a lot of the times unicorns are really a result of like accidental luck. You're trying something and it just worked. And I find, like, even on this podcast, I've spoken with people who are doing really well, and they're just selling like regular products. You would not even imagine like that this would make this person multimillionaire and things like that. So it's like there's so many things one can do to make money, and I don't think chasing to be a unicorn is really a great way to do it. Well, Scott, thank you so much again for sharing your story, for sharing all your business advice, how you started your business, successes and failures. Really appreciate it. If anybody wants to get in touch with you or buy your product, what is the best way to do that?
Well, our website, JUSTP as in Paul, AN as in Nancy, ELA.com, 1L, JustPanela.com. And feel free to email Scott, SCOTT, at JustPanela.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Scott. Really appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing your story, and wish you all the very best.
Yeah, Sushant, I might be in Toronto in the new year. I'll let you know.